So I was going through my comment section the other day, and there were a couple of comments that stood out to me. One saying that this is the most anti-European channel out there, and another one talking about how much negative engagement I get. I could have let it go. After all, these were just two comments, and I've received many worse than that. I've been called a fascist, a liberal, a communist, a racist, and an idiot. I usually don't bat an eye anymore, but these two in particular got me thinking. Some of the negative engagement, I assume, comes from the topics I cover and how critically I cover things in Europe. But I also think there is a problem about how we talk about Europe and how we view ourselves. After those comments, I looked up Europe is awesome and Europe is great on YouTube. And at least for me, there wasn't a single video on the subject. And it's also a sentiment that I never read in any single one of my comments, apart from people talking about free healthcare and punching down on the US for not having it. I mean, yes, free healthcare is great, and so, by the way, is a food system that doesn't poison me, or the piece of the continent we live on, or the ability to cross European borders. But if this was the focus of this video, then I would sound like Ursula von der Leyen or any other European politician. And as much as I agree on the incredible achievements that some of these things represent, they're simply distractions. They're the result of Europe's greatness, not its source. Which is why I wanted to make this video on what makes Europe so awesome. Instead, every night as I'm going to bed, one of the last things I see is a growing pile of books in the corner of my room. They're in French, English, and Dutch, and they constantly remind me of the rich intellectual culture we in Europe and the West are part of. Their relentless analysis of Europe's challenges is a reminder of something that I take for granted on a day-to-day basis. The fact that the information I read and the data I have access to simply doesn't exist in much of the world. And this past year and a half that I've been doing Into Europe full-time, I've had the opportunity to go on expeditions across the continent, talking to people and experts and finding out what is going on in the field. It's something that I don't think I value enough. The fact that I can make such critical videos about the policies of the European Union or European governments without being shot, and that you're able to watch them without being arrested, is, I think, Europe's crown achievement. Now, I know what you're thinking. Europe is faced with unprecedented waves of challenges, whether it be in tech, its aging population, its education systems, its immigration policy, or climate change. And yet when I read this pile of books in the corner of my room, I actually start to hope and dream. I mean, with books titled The Deindustrialization of France between 1995 and 2015, who wouldn't? God, I love this book. The thing is, with every page I read, I learn about the incredible complexity of Europe and our societies and economies. But when I do so, our challenges and problems don't look as big nor as impossible to tackle. Instead, what comes out of these books for me is that our problems come too often from the result and constraints of bad policies we impose on ourselves or failures of imagination. Where we once embraced rationality, pragmatism, and challenges, we were taught to adopt ideology and simple solutions, or to kick the can down the road. Where we looked for truth, we put up taboos and denial. Yet this pile of book in front of me is a constant reminder of Europe and the West's great intellectual cultures. And they're alive and kicking, and at our fingertips. All of our best ideas are already out there, and we just need to pick them up and dust them off. And when I view things in this way, the narrative of Europe's decline, however widespread it is in the media, or however good it looks on a thumbnail, no longer seems inevitable. They make me dream of how we could once again embrace the rationality that we invented in the Enlightenment. They make me dream of a Europe unshackled and unburdened by its past and its fears, free from taboos and ready to take on the world. The fact that all of this exists out in the open, free for everyone to pick up, is what, in my opinion, makes Europe pretty freaking great. When I started this channel, I went on a reading spree trying to understand the history of Europe. There is this particular book that marked me, and I'm not going to lie, it ended on a pretty depressing note with a quote from British Foreign Secretary Sir Edward Grey ahead of World War I. It goes, "The lamps are going out all over Europe. We shall not see them lit again in our lifetime." And all I've ever wanted to do since reading this quote was flip back the switch. So thank you for granting me the privilege of exploring some of Europe's greatest challenges, and if you're watching this on the 9th of May, when this video is set to release, Happy Europe Day.